Welcome to the Be My Guest podcast, where we interview inspiring entrepreneurs who share their stories and their insights and much, much more. You made a great choice tuning in today to the Be My Guest podcast. Welcome and enjoy the show. Hey guys, this is Frankie with Be My Guest podcast. We got another great guest we're interviewing today, and I'm excited to share all of what he's going to talk about today. Very interesting things. But if you want to be a guest on our podcast, don't forget you can go to our website, BeMyGuestPodcast.com. That's BeMyGuestPodcast.com. Click on Get Interviewed and go from there, and we'll make sure that we can reach out to you so we can put you on the podcast and interview you as well. Without further ado, I want to bring my guest on, Dr. Travis Fox. He has got a great concept that I'm excited to unpack today. Hey, man, thanks for coming on and sharing your story today.
Thanks for being your guest on Be My Guest. I appreciate it, Frankie. It's a good long time coming, man. Thanks for scheduling.
Yeah. Thank you. So let's do this. Why don't you introduce yourself, kind of share a little bit about your story, your background, and how you got started doing what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'll answer the last one first and work back into the first one last. It feeds my dyslexia. Going back about 30 years, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I started my entrepreneurial career when I was 9 years old. My mother got me into modeling and acting because she was a model and actress, got me into it. My father wanted me to be a professional golfer, so you can imagine those two didn't kind of clash very well. Long story long, around 1920, I started to realize that, working for somebody else was never going to be the plan that worked for me. I'm not saying it doesn't work for other people, but it didn't work for me. And I got really frustrated because if you look through schooling systems, really what it comes down to is we don't learn how to run businesses. We learn how to take tests, right? And then we get into this beautiful school, which I got indoctrinated early. I'm sure you did too. And maybe your guest is all of your listeners. I got inducted to this school of hard knocks. I got out there in the streets pretty fast. While I was going to school and finishing my degrees on the clinical side, I was moonlighting. But there was nobody there to really mentor. And you got to find a mentor. Well, last I checked back then, we had the yellow pages. It wasn't like I could dial up and find a mentor. So it was a little different than we are in today. And so 30 years later, fast forward, I've been working for companies for years as a consultant, coming in and training work from sales, HR, experience on a thing that we developed called dual path dynamics, which really accentuates how's your brain really working? What's going on here? And, we struggle with the ideology of, hey, in our world, we tell everybody it's mind, body, spirit. That's how you got to work through your stuff. Here's the problem, Frankie. Mind never solves itself. So 90% of the people in business never get past their own head. They're running around in circles, mentally masturbating all day, trying to figure out the what if, who, and where. And we don't really get anywhere, but we do a bunch of stuff, but we don't get anything really done. Now, I'm not talking, again, micros. I'm talking in macros and entrepreneurialism. Right. And I get really frustrated by it because, one, I'm a neurotypical parent, but I'm also a special needs parent, and that our middle child is autistic. And while I'm blessed in his autism, I started to discover that my neurotypical child and my special needs children were getting the same education, which is odd to me. It made no sense because they kept coming out saying the same thing. I'm like, well, that's weird. And that is, I don't really know what to do, Dad. I don't know how to start a company. I don't get it. And so my partner and I, Michelle and I, sat down several years ago and said, after consulting and doing corporate turnarounds for years, we were like, why don't we do something that makes this fun? Enter the Ultimate Business Quest. And the Ultimate Business Quest is truly a medieval journey through 27 different quests in an entrepreneurial game, because we learn faster when we're playing games. We can dive into the clinicals later, but let's just make that comment now. And what if you could go from founder funding to fortune and win cash for your business along the way and work with questers all around the world, and then turn that app, which is a digital world, into a reality world, which is what we've now completed in 2024. And then better yet, what if we made it a television show? Welcome to the Quest.
Wow. Great introduction of it as well.
Thanks.
And you guys have that as an app that people can download on the Apple Store and the Play Store as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we're on 4th generation. We just released the 4th generation July of 2024. It is best one we've ever done. Everything is built in. So part of what we'll get into in this, and we get into this a little bit later, subject to you, is it isn't just, hey, play the game. It's got all of your business profile built in, so that imagine LinkedIn, but on steroids, but going through 31 different archetypal personas. And it's really a persona system because archetypes really is only 4, but there's 31. What does that do for you? One, it tells you how when you meet somebody, you know exactly what their best features are. All of them, not just, hey, you're a red, you're a green, you're a blue, no disrespect, or hey, you're an introvert, you're an extrovert. Those are snapshots or what's called a quadratic model. Well, here's the problem. It says, Frankie, you took this test, but this is who you are for the rest of your life. That's impossible. Here's proof for all of the listeners. Go back in time to all of you right now and remember what you wanted to be when you were 15 or 16 years old. If you're like most, 80% of you aren't even close to the thing that you wanted to be because other things came in the way. So you've transformed into something else. So to say that that's who you are for the rest of your life is really a misnomer. And unfortunately, it's a travesty in human dynamics, in my opinion, because it labels you. This is fluid. It takes into consideration, are you in your conscious or are you in your subconscious? Are you working from choice, meaning I'm consciously competent, or am I working from my subconscious where I'm subconsciously incompetent, meaning I'm working from my business trauma where I've been screwed over, people have let me down, I've lost money, I feel stupid, I'm not good enough. I mean, pick the voice, right? But also walks through how you process, but it does it in a different way. Because every decision, every choice that you make, because it's your quest, which is really cool about this process. You choose the adventure. We don't tell you how to choose it. We provide the systems for you to decide how you're going to design your company and how you're going to build it, how you're going to build your culture, your USP, your MVP, your sales, all of your organization, all goes through that, but it's all done in a game. Why? Because we clinically know that you learn faster at a DNA level when you're in a fun thematic or a fun theme. You know, the age-old saying, time flies when you're having fun. Well, the time doesn't necessarily fly here because you want to have your time maximized as much as possible, but you learn 10 times faster and you absorb it and now you can apply it. Because there's a difference between what you and I went through and maybe perhaps most of the listeners. You and I went through school of knowledge. We didn't learn how to go through school of application. How do we apply it? How do I make this work? So knowledge without wisdom of application, it really just kind of makes you, great. You're book smart and application dumb. I thought that sucked. So we wanted to find a way to do that. And that's what the quest does. So it actually takes you from digital to reality through a technique called synthesiastic movement. It's a really fancy way of saying, hey, what if we took all those fantasies out of your head, Frankie, and we made them real, but made you understand why you're doing what you're doing? So now learning entrepreneurialism becomes the hub, but now you know why you're doing this pro forma and what math actually meant to do, why you're writing this business plan. Oh, that's what English was for. And oh, this is what a culture is about. Oh, that's what psychology was for. Yeah, because it's about you to develop the life that you want, because everybody should be the king and queen of their own castle and their own quest. This is your journey.
Now, for someone to get that profile put together in a place where they can actually be effective inside that app, how long does something like that take?
If you're really, really slow and you decided you had a really hard weekend and you party too hard, 10 minutes, maybe.
Nice.
On average, you should be done in 3 minutes, right? Yeah. The system works fairly effectively fast. And what it does is what's really cool is once you do your quick profile establish, you start questing, you go right into your first quest. Everything you do with inside the app, it adjusts your profile automatically for you. Now, the algorithm in the background that says, hey, Frankie, I'm going to start matching you with people that match perfectly for your strengths and quote unquote weaknesses, although I don't like that word, but we'll use it for this conversation. It matches you. So when you start looking at the personas, and we're sitting now it's a different way. Instead of going, hey, Frankie, I need you to get things done. I need you to move a little faster. Well, okay, that's great. That's not a great motivator. But what if Frankie is really a highly cerebral individual and doesn't really want to get things done from an outside, meaning dealing with people, wants to work inside? Well, what if we put that in a more fun way? What if I said, hey, Frankie, you know what? That whiz mage of yours loves to analyze things, and I love the analysis in you. And you know what? We're going to move you over to the CFO position. I'm going to move you over to the accounting department, accounts payroll, because that makes more sense for you versus your resume says, well, I'm a sales manager and I'm a manager of people. Well, that's great. I don't care what your resume says. I care what your brain and process. And I'm not talking about EQ. It's beyond that, because what people don't really realize, and it's funny, and any of you listening right now, and Frankie, you can do this watching yourself. When you're about 40 years old, give or take a year or two, you have about 40 different personalities running around in your head. Now, that doesn't make you schizophrenic or DID, so don't get all upset, people. What it means is we've developed different ways of presenting ourselves, no different than the facets of a diamond. You're still a diamond. You just have different facets of yourself, and you're not projecting, you're not faking, you're not doing act as if. It's just different personalities. Perfect example. There's Travis the father. There's Travis the husband. There's Travis the chairman. There's Travis the actor. There's Travis the director. There's Travis the brother. Travis the friend. Each one has slightly different value and belief systems and presentational systems. Those are the personas. So what if we did it in a way that we walked up and go, brother, I see the gladiator and you want to get stuff done. Let's go talk to the whiz mage over there in the accounting department, because now we're playing a game and it's easier for us to give course and correction than it is to come a direct hammer like we've been doing for the last 30 years, which is I'm the boss, do as I say as, that kind of junk. People don't care. They get transient. You lose your sense of loyalty, your sense of passion and purpose, and it sucks the life out of you. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what changes. It makes business fun again, because man, boy, business needs it fun after the last 5 years we've all been through on a global scale.
Right. Pretty neat stuff. And so your system here, your game, your app, it's going to link you with other folks. Like you said, it's going to match you up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to do that within 3 minutes, no more than 10 minutes after you set it up, and you're able to get in there and really start seeing some results. So what's some of the benefits of linking up, and what's the purpose behind linking up that this opportunity presents for the people that are using it?
Great question. And there's other aspects to it. Your social media is built in. We have our own scroller. You would call that like a TikTok style if you want to get the imagery in your head. You have groups to open for your business and for collaboration. Here's why. How often as a business entrepreneur, solopreneur, or wantrepreneur, you're trying to talk to someone about that and they're an employee? You have nothing to talk about. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a Martian talking to someone from Venus. Yeah, you're both from planets, but it's a completely different culture. So you lose that to talk about. When you're inside the Quest, you're talking to other people who are entrepreneurs, period, across the globe. Why? Because today, unlike any other time in history, well, there is no such thing as us and them. There's not them over there and us over here, or that's a third world country and we're here. We live in a global economy. And the moment you realize that, what you start to also realize is you have access now to, about 7.6 billion other people that you don't necessarily get access to here in the United States. We're only 330 million people here. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not. But what if we open up to the 7 billion? Well, now all of a sudden, the one thing entrepreneurs run into is they get stuck. Because I only know what I know. This is my friends and family. This is as far as well, the whole way no matter what business you're in, not a single business and you're in, doesn't matter, product, service, or experience, you're in the people business. Right. So the first thing that gives you the benefit is you're around people who are in business for themselves and want to be in business for themselves. So you're going to get cooperation, collaboration, and community right out of the box because you all subscribe to the same thing. Let's go on a quest and let's build our own businesses. So that's the first thing you're going to get.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Give us an example of some people that, have used your app and what kind of success have they been able to find once they got in there?
Yeah, great question. So one of the first early successes we had in Generation 2 is a gentleman who's a high school graduate who had started a pool cleaning business. Clearly not his, end all be all for his life, but that he'd grown the business up, went through the quest, grew his business up, got it up over the first 90 days in purchase orders and valuation, ended up selling the company within 6 months of going through the quest, and then turned right around and now is a full-time stock trader. And I don't mean Forex. I mean, he actually went to stock school and now is a full stock trader because he started to realize, hey, just because my high school degree told me that I'm blank, which is I'm only high school educated, he realized his education had nothing to do with his aptitude. And that became from, as he went through the dual path dynamics and the business matchmaking, he went, oh, I didn't know because I was told I was blank. Ergo, right? Again, and I always tell people, I'm like, it's not that you can't transform. It's you have these programs running around your head that say don't transform. So unless we know how to unwind that hypnosis that was given to us by something else, i.e., school, culture, whatever, right? Unless we unwind that and we reverse it, you're going to be subject to those voices in your head because we all think that, we consciously are in control. And I always remind people, I'm like, by the time it gets to your conscious mind, it was already long decided by your subconscious programming. That's why it's called subconscious, below your conscious awareness. So if we can bring more and more of that up, but do it in a way that's not scary, because we all have business trauma. And anybody who says they don't have business trauma has never been in business. They're lying, right? BS. Warren Buffett has had it. Bill Gates has had it. You name it. All of us have had it, right down to the solopreneur. And how do I get my freaking landing page to tie in and work so I can see what my conversion rate is with my merchant services? So when we start looking at that trauma, how often before that trauma becomes so traumatic, it becomes a block? All right. No different than relationship, no different than personal self-development. But what if you made that looking at that trauma a whole new way and fun? Because if you don't make it fun, well, you're not going to do it. I don't care who you are. You're just not going to do it, man. You're going to procrastinate, and guess what's going to happen? And there's this other persona that comes around, not a part of our system, but that persona has been here for a long time, and that persona is called death. And death has about 100% batting average. So, what you start to look at as an entrepreneur and why this app makes it so much fun is because it guides you through the next step. Each quest is its own theme. So you learn how to message your company. How do I build my business plan? It actually does it for you. You just don't realize you're doing it. How do I put my company culture together so I'm not getting 4 Travises in the room? Because the last thing I want is another 3 Travises. I'm just as screwed up. I don't need 3 more of me to screw me up. I need 3 other things. I need a gladiator. I need a whiz mage. And when people hear, they go, oh, well, you're just playing fantasy games. I'm like, okay, so you'd rather be an a-hole and sit in board meetings and yell and scream at each other all day and be stressed out and be on every prescription drug and known to man and be divorced 3 times before you're 30? Okay, you're right. The quest isn't for you. Now, we take business seriously. For example, one of the companies we actually acquired with our own system, we're gearing up to take public next year. And it's a massive disruption in the housing construction industry because we believe everybody should have their foundation, their family, and their freedom, whatever that is. And freedom is obviously to choose your own quest, to go start your own business. And now more than ever, let's agree that the number one challenge humanity is going to face in the next 24 months is AI. AI is going to put a lot of people on their butt. And the quest says, let's put you back on your butt, but you're controlling your business from your home and you're doing it from a digital perspective. And then you can take that message to the world. And I'm not talking about just sell a product on a platform. I'm talking about real businesses, but you're going to need to know how to do that business model, or otherwise, you're going to say, well, AI does it for me. Well, now they have AI that spots AI. So if you're writing it from AI, there's AI that goes, nope, I wrote that. Sorry. We got plagiarism from AI. It's like crap. So everything that Brady's telling you can go do, yeah, you can do a point, but when you're real still dealing with people and they have AI as counter, guess what happens? They go, yeah, guess what, Frankie, you didn't write that, man. That's not really you. That's horse hockey. Well, what if you could do that in a whole new way? That's what the quest does. And each theme takes you through that process. And then when you look back at it, you go, holy crap. And then you're going to get a report at the end when you claim your throne and take the castle, how far you've actually come. So you can see a full detailed report of your journey. How does that change as an investor? Hey, Frankie, I get to see what you've done in the quest. I've seen your transformation, how you led your company, how you built your culture, how you built your revenue. How did you structure this thing corporately? Wow. Holy crap. Look at the network of people you've developed. This is a company I want to invest in. So it works for the investors too, because they now get to look at it from the other side. It isn't just, hey, I like you. Let me do due diligence. Well, here's your due diligence. You get to watch him from beginning, or whomever from the beginning to the end. And so it changes that model too, so that we're actually investing in each other. Small business and startups, it's the only way to go from going forward.
Yeah, I got to admit, I've never heard the term business trauma.
Really?
But now that you've said it, I know exactly what it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, I tried
definitely have experienced it.
Yeah, I tried everything else, right? We're like, hey, what is this is, well, I've got you passed, you got your thing. Well, we finally just realized it's trauma. When you define it, from that kind of macro psychology perspective, trauma is anything that causes trauma to you, emotional, psychological, or spiritual.
Makes sense.
Right.
Makes sense.
And then you start looking at it and you go, I've been having business trauma since high school. I'm like, yeah, remember that first job you tried to get, or the car wash you tried to do, or the lemonade stand when everyone said no for your 5-cent lemonade and you got a bunch of rejection. And you went, entrepreneurialism sucks. I'm like, yeah, because your trauma says it does. Right?
Yeah. That's it. Have you noticed, or what could you say about how business trauma may prevent someone from moving forward or restarting again, or moving past some of the challenges of, after they faced that or went through that, experienced that? How can that affect people?
Well, if I'm being candidly blunt, it could be terminal. You could never start your business career. You could actually just be crippled. I mean, you've heard and I forgive the metaphor, but it kind of suits the point. You have paralysis by analysis through trauma. Right. My loop in my head keeps saying, you can't do it. You're not good enough. You've tried MLMs. You've tried drop shipping. You've tried e-commerce. You tried whatever. You tried selling apples on the street corner. You tried doing car sales. You failed at it all. You're just not built for business. Well, maybe because you're the visionary and the founder of the company, but maybe you need to get a person that's next to you that actually helps run it. That doesn't mean you're bad for business. It just means that's not your strength and you're working on it. But what if you built a culture of and a clan? Because no different. And I give a great analogy. Let's look at Lord of the Rings for the second. When you look at, the Fellowship of the Ring, the very first kind of one that started the whole thing for Peter Jackson and J.R.R. Tolkien, as far as visual is concerned, you have the Fellowship of the Ring. But look at each individual character. Each one had a strength that they catered to, that was their mastership, but they relied on their other fellowship in the ring to solve that problem. That's exactly what company culture is all about. And when we first start our business, what's the first thing we do? We call our friends and say, hey, Frankie, I just started this business, bro. You want to be in business with me? Well, just because they're your friend doesn't mean they're actual complementary in the business perspective. But if you go through the quest and you quick do your business matchmaking profile, now I know, you know what, Frankie, I want you in the business, man. I thought you were going to be my business manager, but guess what? You know, you're a herald. You're so good at doing the messaging. I need to move you over here and put you in as our chief media officer or chief marketing officer, because man, you're really good at it. Oh crap. Cause we get stuff done around the yard and we're buddies. I'm thinking he just gets stuff done. Well, again, perception sometimes is not really the reality. And this is what we help cut through. So we're really, you're building your coalition, your clan, because you want resources and you want people before you start your quest. Often, and part of our business trauma, back to your original question, is we'll just start off with the races. I'm off and running. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to put an LLC together and I'm going to throw my product there on some platform and I'm going to get rich. And no. And then you run into things like, oh, those links don't work and the back channels and coding and hired third-party vendors. And how do you vet them? And who do you know is real? Right? Are they real? Well, And so when you look at all these business traumas, especially in the world we deal with today, this makes it much easier. When you can literally ask one question, one very simple question, you go, got it. I know exactly what persona they're showing up in. And again, I'm not talking about auditory, visual, kinesthetic, or NLP. That's in there, but it's not the front profile, and it's done in a very covert way because most people use NLP inappropriately, in my humble opinion. Mm-hmm. It is not a modifier. It's an identifier, right? Where are we at the moment? But that doesn't mean who you are, right? And often we start labeling people too quickly. And so this allows you to be fluid because, man, it's fluid. As an entrepreneur, there's no such thing as a straight line. It's a big bowl of spaghetti. So hold on for the ride, man, because you're on a roller coaster. But if you make it fun, there's something that we've discovered over the years and over 3 decades of this, and my whole career has been based on that thematic, is when it's fun, it's contagious. Well, when you're starting your business, you want to be contagious. You want people to go, damn, I want to be part of that because I want to feel like that. I want to be around people like that. I don't want to sit there and just have this, I'll make an investment. I'll go sit back in the corner and eat crayons.
Right. So back to your example of the guy that had the pool service. Was it on his radar to even sell the business, or was that something that happened?
No, he was under the ideology of this is kind of my lot in life, and I'm gonna see if I can grow this business because this is it. And how often do we get stuck in that, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm only going to be here for 5 years at this job, Frankie, until I'm going to start doing my thing. And 20 years goes by and you're getting the gold watch because you've been there 20 years. And you're like, dang, my kids grew up and I missed it. And holy heck. And I'm not talking about, just go out there and it's going to be altruistic every day. But what if you could learn to find tough situations, and you'll have them as an entrepreneur. And if you have the illusion that you won't, well, that's the first thing we're going to deal with, because that's your trauma right there, that you believe that you won't. But how you handle it is a different way to do it. And that's what makes this so unique and so much more fun. But also too, you have a shot. You have a real shot, because this isn't a high ticket set.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. The answer to the question was no. He kind of got stuck in that. Hey, this is what I've got. I'm gonna see if I can build this and kind of make a life for myself. But it's something he became good at, but it wouldn't tell you it's got him up every day of passion. What it did do though is it got him to see that he's more than that, how to build the business effectively, where he wasn't building his business, and how to put people around him so that the wheel could turn faster. Grew the company up and ended up selling it, and then doubled his money literally. And then said, hey, I'm going to take a year, because what I really want to do is I've always wanted to be, a stock investor. Now, I just want to work on Wall Street, but the guys that had trained him he's gone through literally, I've watched him go for the last 2 years, and I've kept in touch with him, watched him go from literally not knowing a dang thing, what does PE mean? And, what does a KPI mean, to now he sits there and fires back and talks about the stocks and how he's doing an investment. And he takes 3 or 4 hours in the day, and that's his strategy. And the rest of the time he helps his now wife, he wasn't married at the time, he is now, his now wife, build their YouTube channel, and they're enjoying life. And I went, yeah, that's it. And that's just one of many of them. And so also too, and I think it should be noticed, and I kind of slipped it in earlier, but we're still on our quest too. So we still, as companies come in and we see significant companies that we either help, and I'm not talking from a coaching program, I'm talking about from a financial program, we'll get involved in, and my entire team, because it's not just Travis Fox. There's 40 of us in this company, and you got everything from investment bankers to chief strategy officers to former military intelligence, to people who've been CEOs for 30, 40 years. We have men, women, we have ages all the way down from youngest is 25 years old, all the way to oldest 67. So it's a real eclectic group, and like I tell everybody, I'm the PT Barnum for entrepreneurs is the best way to describe it. Except for my carnival is called The Cut. and that stands for the Carnival of Unconventional Thinkers. And we held our event, and you get to the app, and if you decide that you want to take this and go to the path of ambition, because that's your choice, you can do that. And then if you're one of those ones, you'll get invited to come to our actual physical theme park in Salt Lake City, which is literally a techno medieval wonderland of 13 acres. And you're going to come in and experience what you experience in the app and see if you can actually compete for that cash and to get a shot to be on the television show that we're in development for. And I want you to just think The Amazing Race for entrepreneurs. Only the difference is there's a lot of differences.
Yeah. You were telling me about people can enter to get an opportunity to pitch themselves for that show. Tell us a little bit more how that works.
Well, the first thing that's going to make it most exciting, you don't have to pitch a dang thing. You don't have to pitch at all. In fact, let's agree that most people suck at pitching, right? Mm-hmm. That's called the Herald persona. How do I do that? But there's frames of the Herald. So what you're actually going to do is you're going to quest. You're going to quest in the acreage, and it's a time quest. As you take the quest, think of your device and the app as a treasure map. It's going to say, okay, there's the next clues, and you're going to run around. And as you do that, you're going to get points in the leaderboard, and the leaderboard is what gets you to the top. It's about skills. It's not about luck. It's not like you have to be a Harvard grad. It has to be, can you use deductive reasoning to actually figure out how to build your business? Because 90% of entrepreneurialism, in my humble opinion, is solving a problem. That's it. Right. That's all it is. People are like, oh, it's got to be all this. I'm like, well, it can be complex if you like, but if we really boil it down, it's I build it, I sell it, I make profit, I reach out, get more audience. That's really kind of the basics of it, right?
Yeah.
So when you get into that, it's a completely different model. You don't have to pitch at all. In fact, just like any other television show, there's tips and twists and things along the way. But what makes it unique for us is we get to see how you choose to get up the leaderboard, because there's no one way to do it. That's what makes it so unique. So you all don't have to follow in line. Well, I'm doing what Frankie did, right? Because I'm just following him. Well, you can. But is that the best path for you? Because every little thing, no stone unturned, no door unlocked, no closet, every building that you see, and there's 9 different pantheons you're going to go through when you go through it in the physical theme park, you're running all over the place. But you're on your quest, and everything you do, like entrepreneurialism, has a leaderboard time quotient effect to it, meaning I get 5 points here, I get 500 there. You choose how you want to play your quest because it's your quest. And one, I think, with the bedrocks, Frankie, that makes this so unique is it's not some judge telling you, that's a dumb idea. That's already been done. That's nothing new. I don't think you've got a great USP. And we believe the only person tells you when your quest ends is you.
Yeah. Now, what made you, what was it that made you believe, hey, this is what I want to spend the most of my time doing, helping entrepreneurs really be able to get the best out of their situation, their potential, their dreams? What was it that, bring me back to that time where you realized this is what I want to do?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Back in my career when I was a talent on stage most of the time, I've seen literally millions of people in front of me on stages around the world, and I've got 15,000 hours on stages in film and television. I've been blessed, to be nominated for Emmys 5 times. I finally won. I think they gave it to me because I'd done everything wrong you could do to finally go, just take the award and go away. But got it right one time, and I got 45 other awards. And it was really about telling the story. And part of my background, and you can see the DR from my name, but my background is really in clinical hypnotherapy, which is where I spent most of my time. And I got fascinated with how do we actually transform? And I would watch all of these people who would be entertained by a speech or a show or a broadcast, but it didn't apply because we always got put into entertainment or self-development or counseling or coaching or all this other, words. And I'm like, no, it's just your quest. What if we applied this to business? Because one of the things that always bothered me was we've always separated the human from business. I'm like, how the heck do you do that? So for example, it's, well, Frankie, we're going to go work on your personal development. We're going to do some ayahuasca and do some woo-woo stuff because, well, you've had your midlife crisis and damn it, you burned yourself out on business. Okay. On the business side of that, though, is, well, if you go over there with that, well, you're out there a little far. You're a little gypsy. That's a little too woo-woo for us here in business. We're real serious about our business. And I'm like, how do you separate those two? Exactly. I double dog dare. There's only one way to do it in psychology, and it's not a positive way to do it. Right. So there's only one way. And that even further excites me because guess what? You don't see lions out there going, well, Frankie, I just identify as a giraffe today. I just don't feel like killing anything. I'm going to go hang out there and become an herbivore. You think my neck's long enough? They'll accept me over there. You don't see that. Right. So that lends to believe that the combination of the entrepreneur and the self-development must be one, because you are one and same. And people say I turn it off at 5 o'clock. They're totally full of, it's not. This doesn't turn off. The head doesn't turn off, especially if you don't know how to turn it off. So what if you made both of those work together, but made them collectively? And that's what really got me into it, because I kept watching people ask me, hey, Travis, how do I get out of my own way? Or can you help me with my confidence? Or can you help me with my business trauma? Can you help me put this company together? Can you tell me how to hire the right people? And I kept going, well, yeah, I can do all that, but there's only one of me. I can't scale me. And technology back then didn't exist. And so our CEO, who is an incredible brilliance, she came and said, Travis, what if we took this now from the original course that we were teaching and walking people through it in a gameplay? What if we turned it into an app so everybody could have it? Then all of a sudden that triggered my little legacy piece in my brain, because, I'm 54 now here in the year 2024. And I was like, hey, the days ahead might be just a little bit shorter than the days behind. So time being my most valuable asset and being a serial entrepreneur, what if we sped this up? We gave everybody the opportunity to do it, because I used to be one of those guys on stage. I could charge you the high ticket item. I charged $30,000 too. And then it dawned on me, you never get the masses to learn if you keep catering to the same 1%. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. People who are high ticket, please be high ticket, knock yourself out. But I'll challenge you on that model. And here's why. Ask yourself, who's got more money, Netflix or Tony Robbins? I'll guarantee it's Netflix. Why? Because you're reaching the massive, but also too, if we're reaching the masses, guess what happens? Everybody's playing. And two, from that position, you can actually make transformation, because now there's a bunch of people playing and you have mass adoption. And when I say mass adoption, the way we did that was make everybody have a shot. Because the one thing that got frustrated for me is I had a very challenging father from a money perspective. Everything from him was earn it, right? Because he comes from that era, right? That time back in the early 1900s. And so that was a challenge for me. I was like, but that takes the fun out of it. And last I checked, and I hate to, again, I when people they're like, hey, I'm like, guys, you need to bring death into the equation, because death is real. Any other version of that is self-hypnosis of an illusion that does not exist. You are going to leave this planet one day. The question is, what did you do with your time here? Did you actually go on the quest you really wanted? Funny thing, Frankie, to answer your question, 80% of the people that I ask, and it's probably more, 80% say, no, I haven't even come close. That is crushingly heartbreaking for a person like me. I've watched millions of people and I go, is this really the life you want to live? And I'm not talking about just thinking it'll fall out of the sky and manifesting. Although I believe in manifesting, don't be wrong. But I believe also too, you've got to know how to transform your brain. And we don't teach people that. Well, I'm blessed that I've gone through that and I've developed a system, and I was taught by masters and spent thousands and thousands of hours like you mastering a skill. And that's my skill. And then I put team around me that are a heck of a lot smarter than me. I just know my role. And said, well, what if we made this fun? And now if we made the cut, you don't have to be a conventional thinker. In fact, why would you want to be?
Right.
There you go.
Wow. A lot to unpack there. A lot of great opportunities, sounds like, as far as the app is concerned, the community, the strengths that you can lean on others, learning how to evolve into your full potential. Sounds like there's a lot of great insights, as well as a lot of thought through that. What else did you want the crowd and the audience that's listening and watching this video to really learn and get from what you guys are offering out there that we can share with them tonight?
Yeah. Start your quest now. Pull out your device right now, your Apple or your Android, wherever you're on the planet. Go to the App Store, download the Ultimate Business Quest. If you're watching the show, you see the logo on my hat. If not, type in UBQ, Ultimate Business Quest. It is the ultimate quest, but it's your quest. I really want to implore to people. I want to invite you. Double dog dare you, even if I can take you all the way back to middle school. Double dog dare you. Go for it. It's free. If you decide you want to go for the bigger stuff, that's your choice. It'll cost you a whopping $6. That's it. Why? Because I believe everybody should have it. And when I saw the effect it had on my elder son, who is neurotypical, who has got a pedigree as long as my arm and longer than mine, and I saw my non-neurotypical, my autistic, both say, Dad, I don't know how to do it, but both of them want to be entrepreneurs in very different aspects. They both should have the shot. And there's only one way to do that, because an autistic isn't going to make near the capital returns that, let's say, a Georgetown law degree individual, as my elder son is. Not going to have the same opportunities, but they both should have the same opportunity to start. Right. Where they end up is their quest. So for me, I employ all of you. If you want to make business fun again, you want to hang out with a bunch of entrepreneurs who are completely out of their box. They're misfit mavericks. They're dreamers. They're visionaries. They say, no, I don't want to do the 40 plan. And they realize AI is coming real fast. And we all better figure out a model that we can actually do it together and make our own living. download the Quest. You got no excuse except for your own. And if you have that excuse, guess what? All you got to do is download it and take your first quest, and we'll start right off. And you can figure out there's more to you than meets the eye. Start with your persona quiz. It goes right through that you set up, and you start plugging in other entrepreneurs. You're going to find out it becomes wonderfully addicting. And I say that with respect, right? But it's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
That's right.
Just a dream.
I'm actually doing it right now.
Thanks, brother.
There you go. Yeah.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
actually signing up and downloading it now. I encourage you guys to do the same thing, especially if you only got 1% of what Dr. Travis Fox talked about. That would probably be transformational for most of you, if not all of you. Definitely sounds intriguing. I'm going to be trying it. So Dr. Travis Fox, I want to have you come back because I want to be in this app, and then later we talk about how it's changed my life.
I'd love that.
I'd love to be able to share the experiences with you, as well as learn more from you. I know we didn't get hours of time here, but maybe we can get another slot scheduled and learn more from you. I appreciate you coming on today and sharing. How can people get a hold of you? They want to reach out to you personally.
Well, first go in the app. I actually am a profile in my own app, and it is me.
Beautiful.
I don't have bots. I talk back. If not, you can follow me on all social media. It's easy. It's Travis Fox 360 from Instagram to TikTok. It's easy peasy to find me. I'm out there every single day. Guys, just remember, you know what? No one gets off this planet alive. The question is, did you really live? Get on your quest day, because nobody tells you when your quest ends but you. But I can tell you who tells you it doesn't start. That's also you. So make the choice. Follow your quest. Even if you don't know what you want to do, the quest will help you figure out your passion, your purpose, your mission, and your vision. Leave a legacy for your family and beyond.
That's right, folks. Go do it. Make it happen. Thanks for being on My Guest podcast today, Dr. Travis Scott. We'll talk to you soon. And guys watching this, when we'll see you on the next episode, thanks for tuning in today. You've been watching Be My Guest podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, go to BeMyGuestPodcast.com. That's BeMyGuestPodcast.com.